Hi and welcome. This is Cody Hammer again with another SQL Server 2008 tutorial. In this particular video, I'm going to be talking about joins. When it comes to joins in SQL 2005 or 2008, a join is a keyword that's used in a SQL statement to query data from two or more tables based on the relationship that they have between each other. Some ways to think about joins is an inner join of A and B gives the result of A intersect B. For example, the inner part of a Venn diagram intersection. An outer join of A and B gives the results of a union B, an example, the outer parts of a Venn diagram union. I will be talking about this more in just a second. I'll give you a kind of a visual representation that hopefully makes a lot more sense. There's several different types of joins. The join returns rows when there's at least one match in both tables. Basically, that's if you have two tables and they have something in common with each other, then it's going to return the results of whatever is in common between those two tables. A left join returns all rows from the left table, even if there are no matches in the right table. A right join returns all rows from the right table, even if there are no matches in the left table. And a full join returns rows when there is a match in one of these tables. Here is some syntax for an inner join. The first syntax that I have listed here is kind of an outdated method, and what that is saying is I want to select everything, the star means everything, from the person address table as A, and then what this as A is it's selecting the person address table and giving it an alias. So instead of typing this entire table name out, we can just type A, and do the same thing with the person state province table, and we can give that an alias of as B, where the person address table state province ID is equal to the person state province table ID. And the new method syntax for SQL 92 and above is similar to that, only we can put an inner join in between those two tables with this clause right here that says as an inner join, and it works almost the exact same way. Again, an outer join includes rows even if they do not have related rows in the join table. They're typically used to find corrupt data or unmatched data. A good example of this would be if you had a customers table and an orders table, and you wanted to find out which customers did not place orders so that you can kind of do some marketing or advertise to those customers and try to get them to purchase orders. There's three different variations of an outer join. They are a left outer join, a right outer join, and a full outer join, which I've already talked about. So what I'd like to do is, again, I'll go back and kind of give you an example of how this works. And this made a lot more sense to me when I was working with this particular project. So let's say we have two tables with a single column each, and we have data as follows. So we have table A with the values of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and table B with the values of 3, 4, 5, and 6. What we can see from this particular example here, and let me move this over, is that 1 and 2 are unique to table A. And the values that we have in common on both tables are 3 and 4. As you can see here, we have a 3, 4 in table A, and we have a 3, 4 on table B as well. An inner join using either of the equivalent queries below gives the intersection of the two tables. So it's going to take the 3 and 4 from table A and the 3 and 4 from table B and place those together, because we're joining those two together to see what they have in common. A left outer join will give all rows in A plus any common rows in B. So it'll take the left table, which is the table A, and no matter what, it'll place every single value there. And then on B, it'll list any common rows on B as well as the null values. So a left outer join again will give all rows in A plus any common rows in B. And again, here's some of the syntax used. And a full outer join will give you the union of A and B. For example, all the rows in A and all the rows in B. If something in A doesn't have a corresponding data to B, that portion is null, and vice versa. So why don't I go ahead and get started here with an example. I've got Windows Server 2008 running in VMware. And I've already created a couple tables here. My database is called Feed and Seed, and this would be like an example of a cattle shop that sells cattle feed or horse seed, bird seed. And I've got a customers table here. I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. So I've got the person ID, the last name, the first name, the phone number, the address, and the city. And I have my orders table. And I'll show you what that looks like. I've got the order ID, the order number, and the person ID. So as you can see here, we have two related fields, the person ID in the orders table and the person ID in the the person ID in the orders table, sorry, and the person ID in the customer or the person table. So what I want to do is say, hey, I've got two fields here, or two columns that are the same on both tables, and I want to join them together to see what values are in common between the orders table and the customers table, as we talked about here on this example with the table A's and B's, with these two being in common. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and close both of these, and I want to create a new query, so I can click the new query button up at the top left hand corner of SQL Server Management Studio. And I've already got the syntax saved because I was working with this a little bit earlier. And what this is saying is I want to take the last name and the first name from the persons table and the orders number from the orders table. Again, keep in mind that we could have created aliases for this, like I talked about previously, from the person table, and then I want to create a join from the person table to the orders table, where the person ID from the persons table and the person ID from the orders table are equal, and then I want to order that by the last name on the person ID field. So if I execute this, we can see that we have two results for Tom Smith and two results for Cindy Peterson, and that makes sense because if I go back and show you these two, the person table and the orders table, we have, let's see, Tom Smith is 1, Tove Svensson is 2, and Cindy Peterson is 3. And on this particular one, we have two orders of 3 of the... We have two orders going in from someone who has the customer ID or the person ID of 3, and we have two orders going in from a person with the person ID of 1. So that should match the 3 and the 1. And so we should have two results for Tom Smith because he has the ID of 1, and we should have two results for Cindy Peterson. And as you can see here, that is the case. So there's our inner join. Another way to understand this, and this is really cool that I found out, is we could actually create a view. Let me go ahead and close this. No, I won't save the changes. And to do that, we expand our database, the feed and seed database, and then go to views, right click on views and go to new view. And I want to select the orders table and the persons table. And I want to switch these around for a minute. And I want the last name, the first name, let's see, last name and the first name from the person table and the order number from the orders table. Let me double check that. And then what I can do from there is because the person ID in the person is my primary key, I can drag that over to the person ID in the orders, which is my foreign key. And let's see here. And there's my inner join right there. As you can see here, there's the same syntax right here. And what a view is basically is just a way to view relationships and a way to view different fields, different tables temporarily. It's just a temporary view of different tables, and I will be creating some more videos on views later on. And then if I execute this, we get the same result. So if you're not too familiar with the syntax of SQL 2005 or 2008, you can use views to accomplish the same objective. Again, joins are basically a way to join information together and see what values they have in common. Um, it's basically joining two tables that have the same fields and seeing what's in common between those two fields. This concludes my video, and I hope you enjoyed watching this.